Hey Tabots, it's Joyso, and in this video I will show you everything that you need to know about the CAPTAINCY update, including ship naming, the sovereigns, the milestone system and more. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and subscribe when it ends. I thank you in advance. And now, without any further ado, here is every important detail regarding the Sea of Thieves CAPTAINCY update. We are starting with ship purchasing. Becoming a captain happens after you buy your first ship. In other words, if you have bought a ship for yourself, you become a captain of that particular ship, which will then remain your own. The captaincy comes with a lot of new features and privileges, which is why each vessel comes with a price tag. A sloop costs 250,000 gold, a brigantine will be yours for 375,000 gold, and to become a captain of your own galleon, you'll have to pay 500,000 gold for this big boy. You pay these prices once for each ship, and from then on, this ship is yours forever. However, it is worth noting that you can only own one ship of each type in the first round. Later on, you can only buy another sloop, brigantine or galleon once your previous sloop, brigantine or galleon has reached legendary status from any of the Milestone Alignments. This will be discussed in more detail later. As a final piece of information about buying a ship, it's worth mentioning that you can have up to 15 different ships at a time. Ship naming. Once you've bought your first boat, you have to name it. This is done immediately after you buy the boat using a new GUI element. There are three main things to keep in mind when naming your boat. The name of the ship must not be longer than 20 characters, the name of the ship must not contain any special characters, and the name of the ship must not contain any obscene expressions, obviously. As long as you follow these rules, you can officially name your boat anything. Once you have named your ship, the game will show you once again what the name will look like, with a fancy sign where you can see your own name as the captain of the ship. You can then go back to rename your ship and check that you haven't misspelled anything. However, later on you can only rename your ship using a so-called ship renaming deed, which you can buy at the Pirate Emporium at a great cost. Expanded customization. You bought your first boat, named it, entered your first session on your new boat and completed the captaincy tutorial. You'd think you'd know everything, but you don't. A captain has lots of new cosmetic options. From the moment you become a captain, you can customize your ship's captain's table, bed, rugs, drapes, captain's log, nameplate, your ship's title, ship's banner, and on the galleon, even the captain's chair, chandelier, and curtains in the back. However, these new cosmetics must first be unlocked and purchased. The unlocking of the cosmetics is also based on the new milestone system, which you can find out more about in the Milestones and Alignments section of this video. Saving your ship's loadout. Captains are also given the option to save the loadout of their boat. However, much to many people's disappointment, this does not mean that you can save complete loadouts, which you can then switch between with a single click. Saving a loadout simply means that you can save the cosmetics that you have just equipped one by one for a small gold price, so that you don't have to re-equip them one by one at the start of each subsequent session, but your ship will automatically load them with the cosmetics that you have saved. The cost of saving a cosmetic is either 2,500 or 7,500 gold, depending on whether the cosmetic is a big or small addition to the overall look of the ship. Trinkets. Although the new customization options have already been mentioned in the video, it's not just those new options that really make your boat unique as a captain. Because with this update, the game also includes trinkets, small objects, statues, books, plants, rum bottles, framed paintings and the like that really give your ship a personality. You can buy these trinkets in the revamped shipwright shop, just like the new customizable cosmetics, but in the trinkets section. There are essentially two types of trinkets. One type is ornaments, which include general decorative items such as plants, chains on the wall, books, schools and hat racks and other such things. These can be bought outright, they don't require any unlocked milestones or alignments. The price ranges from 5,000 to 25,000 gold. The other type of trinkets are called trophies. These are smaller statues or wall paintings that can be unlocked, purchased and then upgraded to have increasingly ornate pedestals or frames using the new milestone system. Almost every milestone comes with a new trinket that represents the milestone's unlocking activity. You have to pay more and more for these trophies with each upgrade, so if you want to see a particular trophy with a gem encrusted gold pedestal or frame on your ship, you have to pay a total of 1 million gold for it. This includes the purchasing of the previous levels of the same trinket. In addition to this, it's worth knowing that trinkets are affected by the environment, so cannonballs hitting the ship or when the ship collides, along with the violent storm waves and water coming up in your hull will move nearby trinkets. Trinkets on barrels and on the ground will turn and those on the wall will move out of place, but luckily they will never fall off. Captain's Log. The more observant will have noticed that the phrase Captain's Log was used earlier in the video. Would this mean that everyone finally has their own logbook where we can see the history of a session? The answer is yes and no. The Captain's Log is essentially a stats counter and an index. It includes the name of the ship, the captain, the crew roster, stats that the captain chooses, and several stats that only apply to what happened in that particular session. The latter include the number of days at sea, the number of days since the last sinking, the amount of gold earned in a given session, the number of fish caught and the number of quests completed, along with the number of nautical miles traveled by the ship. So all in all, a lot of PvE focused stats. Unfortunately, the developers didn't make the diary actively describe the adventures in a given session with sketches, nor did they include statistics that would benefit the PvP community members like myself, such as the number of ships sunk or something. That said, the logbook itself is a pretty cool way to brag about these numbers to others, and there's a bit of PvP side to it as well. You can get these logbooks from a captain's ships that have sunk and sell them to the Reaper's Bones for a nice sum of gold, which increases based on how many days ago that captain's ship last sank. This price ranges from 300 gold to 50,000 gold, but the latter will be very rare as it would require a crew to play about 8 hours without sinking. The Sovereigns. So far in this video, I've mentioned a lot of features and privileges available exclusively to captains, but all of them were related to the ship. However, captains can enjoy benefits of their newfound rank not only on their ship. One new non-ship related feature is the company of Sovereigns. Actually, the Sovereigns are not a new company, just a new group on the Sea of Thieves who have captains and their crew to sell even the larger loot hauls quickly. Very quickly, I mean. Each outpost has a new tower-like building with a balcony, an elevator, 2 harpoons on the balcony, ladders, a lookout and even a robot docking station. In these new buildings you'll find a representative of each to whom anything can be sold, except treasures that only the Reaper's Bones accept. Items given to them will be delivered to the 3 base factions, symbolically of course. And if you give them the items that any of the 3 will accept, such as Siren Gems, they will pass them on to the faction you are emissary to. And if you're not an emissary or you are selling under the Athena emissary flag, they will randomly choose which of the 3 base companies to sell these items to. Of course, since these buildings are located on outposts, they don't deal with the Reaper's Bones, and each sovereign NPC will explain this in their own way if you click on the second NPC dialogue option. Captain's Voyages. As mentioned in the previous chapter, it's not just ship-based novelties that captains are entitled to. The other very important non-ship-based privilege is access to new non-cosmetic services of the shipwright. As this covers a lot of ground, this section is divided into several chapters in the video. First, I'll introduce you to Captain's Voyages. These voyages target a specific activity. There are many types of new voyages available at the shipwright, some shorter, some longer, some that send you to just one island, some that send you to several. Some contain missions for one faction and some contain missions for several at once. In addition to length and difficulty, the captain can even choose the activity itself. For example, you can buy separate gold hoarder voyages that are specifically riddle only, or just X mark the spot missions. The choice is huge and the captains can take on many different types of voyages at once. These voyages don't even take up space in your voyage inventory because the missions you buy are stored on a bookshelf where they can be launched at any time, even in a later session. The whole point of these Captain's Voyages is that you can start a very specific personalized activity or series of activities at any time at sea when you know exactly what you want to do, how much time you want to spend on it, and what difficulty level would you like to commit to. So it's a good idea to stock that bookshelf well in advance with new voyages available from the shipwright. Stocks. Another new feature available at the shipwright is the ability to buy stocks. Essentially, this allows captains to buy more resources at the beginning of a session. The resource buying function available in the shipwright differs from the Merchant Alliance's offers in that you don't get a resource crate, but instead the resources you buy are immediately added to your ship's barrels. In addition, with the shipwright you can buy more types of resources and at a lower price. For example, a pack that contains 20 pieces of a selection of throwables costs 300 and 5,000 gold. But you can also buy baits, fruit selections, and additional cannonballs and food sets. Ship repairing. And the final feature available at the shipwright is the repair of your ship. Captains can repair their ship from the shipwright to make it look brand new after battle. In fact, captain ships retain cosmetic scars from battle inside and out between sessions and after a respawn following a sinking. For example, where fire burned before, the ship will remain sooty, but the scratches from cannonball hits will remain on the hull as well. You can remove these in a ways mentioned before, in exchange for some gold of course. Removing already repaired holes and other cosmetic scars of the ship is cheap, but plugging active holes, extinguishing actively burning ship parts, repairing a fallen mast by the shipwright will cost you a hefty amount. Yes, you heard me right, you can repair the currently active damage by the shipwright with the push of one button if the ship is nearby. Of course, obviously there is a cooldown to this function, so that players with a lot of gold are not unsinkable on outposts. Milestones and Alignments. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the final chapter of my video on the features of being a captain. In this chapter, you'll find out what you can do as a captain. Several of the previous chapters have mentioned that some new cosmetics can be unlocked with the milestone system. But what is this milestone system? Milestones are activities that count up to one very specific thing. For example, there is a milestone that counts the number of cannonballs or other things that can be fired from a cannons, but there is also a milestone that counts how many minutes you've played shanties. Each of these milestones has a target number. For cannonballs fired, it's 100 pieces. If you reach that goal, the milestone will level up and go from class 0 to class 1. After that, the milestone can be upgraded to class 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. if you have fired 200, 300 or 500 cannonballs in total. The progression is linear, so to reach each class you have to do the same thing as the previous one. So the example milestone that counts cannonballs fired advances a level or class every 100 cannonballs fired. Of course, even though the bar showing progression is always reset, the milestone itself keeps a track of the total number of cannonballs you have fired so far, and even shows you how many of each type of cannonball you have fired. There are a lot of milestones, and the ones listed before are also true for dues that count a treasure sold, skeleton killed, grog consumed, missions completed, time spent as a grade 5 emissary, etc. Milestones are divided into so-called alignments. These are essentially groupings. This can be thought of as milestones related to collecting gold and selling treasure, all belonging in the Gold Seeker group, or alignment, while the milestones counting cannon fire, along with the milestones counting skeletons defeated, sunken skeleton ships, are placed in the feared. By leveling up a milestone, you are also leveling up the alignment itself. The level of an alignment is actually the sum of the levels of the milestones that are in the alignment. And as I mentioned in a previous chapter, almost all milestones and alignment upgrades will reward you with some kind of cosmetics, be it a trinket or a ship banner for example. Milestones and alignments for all captains start from scratch. Everyone starts with a clean slate. Your previously completed commendations will not affect your milestones or alignments. This means, in other words, that those who want to get as many new cosmetics as possible in the Captaincy update will be in for a grind. Especially considering that player milestones and ship milestones differ from each other, so if you want to unlock the best cosmetics for your own ship, you might want to decide what theme you want to give your ship well in advance. Because if you reach legendary status with one ship, you can buy another of the same size, and that new ship won't have any of the ship milestones unlocked for you when you buy it. And with this sentence we reach the end of our video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, consider dropping a like and subscribing to my channel where you can find similar content. If you have any more questions regarding the topic, don't be afraid to ask them in the comments below. And finally, if you want your friends to know about everything this video covered, share it with them using the share button under the video. Joyso signing out. Bye bye.